Armaan and Zara had been married for only a few months when they discovered a truth that every couple eventually learns. Marriage is easy to celebrate, but difficult to maintain. Their wedding had been beautiful, filled with music, flowers, and promises whispered under soft lights. In those moments, they believed love alone could carry them through life. But as reality settled around them, they realized that love is not just something you feel during happy days. It is something you must protect during difficult days. In the beginning, everything felt magical. Armaan would come home early from work, and Zara would greet him with the warmth of a new bride, eager to build a life with her husband. They would cook dinner together, talk for hours, laugh over silly jokes, and fall asleep holding hands. Zara loved the way Armaan listened with full attention, and he loved the way she found joy in even the simplest things. It felt like the start of a perfect forever. But perfection never lasts without effort. Soon, Armaan's workload increased. His company had given him an important project, one he had dreamt of for years, yet it demanded long nights and early mornings. He began leaving home before sunrise and returning after midnight. At first, Zara understood. She waited patiently every evening, setting the table with food she hoped would make him smile. But as days passed, the waiting turned into loneliness, and the loneliness into quiet heartbreak. When Armaan walked through the door each night, exhausted, Zara would try to talk to him about her day, but he responded with only a few tired words. "Zara, I'm too tired. Maybe tomorrow." But tomorrow never came. She began to feel invisible in her own home, like the walls had more conversations with her than her husband did. The first real argument happened over something small. Armaan misplaced an important file and asked Zara if she had seen it. When she said she hadn't, he snapped in frustration. His voice was sharp. His tone was cold. Zara stood there, stunned, not because of what he said, but because this was the first time he had spoken to her like that. Tears filled her eyes, but she didn't reply. She simply turned away, and Armaan left the room with anger still burning in him. Later that night, Zara cried herself to sleep on the sofa, feeling an ache she couldn't put into words. When Armaan came out and saw her curled up with tears still on her cheeks, something inside him broke. He realized that in trying to build a future, he had forgotten to protect the present. He whispered her name, but she didn't wake. For the first time, he feared losing her, not physically, but emotionally. The next morning, he waited at the dining table, determined to talk. When Zara entered with hesitation in her eyes, Armaan stood up immediately. "We need to talk," he said gently. She sat down across from him, silent but listening. He took a deep breath. "Zara, I know I've been distant. I know I've hurt you, and I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I've been overwhelmed, but that doesn't excuse how I've treated you." Zara's voice trembled. "I miss you, Armaan. I miss us. Sometimes I feel like I'm living alone." Her words pierced his heart. He reached for her hand, but paused midway, unsure if she would accept his touch. "I don't want this distance," he said. "I want us back. I want to learn how to balance everything. I want to give you my time, my presence, my heart." "What if things don't change?" she whispered. "They will," he said. "Let's make sure they do." She looked at him with tired, glassy eyes. He continued. "Let's make a rule, a simple one. Every night, no matter what, no matter how tired we are, no matter how angry we might be, we sit together for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. We talk. No phones. No distractions. Just honesty." Zara blinked slowly. 10 minutes, she asked, almost surprised by how small and achievable it sounded. "Yes," he said. 10 minutes to keep us connected. 10 minutes to prevent silence from destroying what we built. 10 minutes that will always belong to us." Zara exhaled, and for the first time in weeks, hope flickered in her chest. "Okay," she whispered. "Let's try." And so began the marriage rule. The first night felt slightly awkward. Armaan talked about work, but he was hesitant, unsure of how much to share. Zara talked about her day, how she tried a new recipe, how she cleaned the balcony, how she thought about joining work again. They both spoke cautiously, like two people learning to walk after forgetting how to use their feet. But when they ended their 10 minutes, something small but important had shifted. They felt closer. The second night, Armaan opened up about his stress. He talked about the fear of failing, the pressure he felt at work, the worry that he wasn't being a good husband. Zara listened carefully, nodding with understanding instead of judgment. "You're not alone," she said. "I'm here. Share your burdens with me." On the sixth night, Zara spoke about the loneliness she had felt. "Some days," she confessed, "I waited the whole evening just to hear you say my name." Armaan closed his eyes, the pain of her words settling deep in him. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. "I never wanted you to feel that way." By the 10th night, something beautiful happened. The 10-minute rule no longer felt like a rule. It felt like a ritual. It became the part of the day they both looked forward to the most. They laughed. They shared small stories. They expressed fears and dreams. Slowly, they began to rebuild what had started to crumble. Zara soon decided to restart her counseling work, and Armaan supported her wholeheartedly. "You deserve your own journey," he told her. When she got her first client, he brought home flowers. When Armaan got a small recognition at work, Zara cooked his favorite meal. They celebrated each other's victories, comforted each other's defeats, and learned to stand beside each other again. Of course, difficult days still came. One week was particularly stressful for Armaan. He worked overtime for 3 days straight and came home barely able to keep his eyes open. But even then, Zara reminded him gently. 10 minutes. He looked at her tired face and nodded. They sat together, holding hands, simply breathing in silence after a long day. Even quiet moments felt healing now. But life always tests those who try. One day, Armaan received harsh criticism for a project he had worked hard on. A technical flaw in the execution caused the client to complain, and even though the mistake wasn't entirely his fault, he took the blame. He came home completely shattered. He didn't speak. He didn't eat. He simply sat on the edge of the bed with his head in his hands. Zara sat next to him and placed a hand on his back. "Talk to me," she whispered. His voice cracked. "I failed, Zara. I messed up. I disappointed everyone, even." She cupped his face gently and made him look at her. "You didn't fail. You learned. Failure doesn't make you weak. Hiding your pain, and you don't have to hide from me." For the first time, Armaan broke down fully in front of her. Tears rolled down his face, and Zara held him like someone holding a precious piece of their heart. In that moment, he realized something she had always known. Marriage is not built on perfection. It is built on vulnerability, effort, and the willingness to fall and rise together. Days passed, and Armaan recovered from his setback. His confidence slowly returned, especially because Zara walked beside him with unwavering belief. She reminded him, again and again, that he was stronger than his failures and more capable than his fears. As months went by, their bond deepened in a way neither had imagined during the early days of marriage. They began to understand that love is not measured by the absence of conflict, but by the presence of commitment. And their 10-minute rule had quietly become the backbone of their marriage. One evening, during their usual time together, Armaan looked at Zara with a soft smile. "Do you know what this rule taught me?" he asked. "What?" "That love isn't something that happens to you, it's something you choose every day. Even on days when you're tired, even on days when you're hurt, even on days when life feels out of control." Zara smiled through gentle eyes. "And I choose you," she said. "I choose you too," he replied, squeezing her hand. On their first anniversary, Armaan handed Zara a small envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter that said, "Zara, our marriage didn't survive because things were easy. It survived because we never stopped choosing each other. Thank you for standing by me when I couldn't stand on my own. Thank you for reminding me that love grows through effort. And I promise, no matter how busy or tired I will always give us those 10 minutes. They saved us, Armaan." Tears filled Zara's eyes. She hugged him tightly, knowing that they had created something beautiful. Not a perfect marriage, but a strong one. A marriage shaped by communication, patience, forgiveness, and the courage to keep loving, even when it felt difficult. Years later, when friends asked them the secret to their relationship, they always gave the same simple answer. 10 minutes, every night. Just talk. Just listen. Just be together. And that's how the marriage rule became more than a habit. It became the foundation of their forever.